I have a question for you. Who are you?
Wait, what? Like, existentially?
No. Just describe yourself right now. Go.
Oh, I'm, Alex. I'm a podcaster. I'm, friendly and hardworking.
Stop. That was terrible. Literally the worst.
Hey, you put me on the spot. It's hard.
Exactly. It is hard. I mean, welcome to the podcast, everyone. Today, we're talking about the hardest question in the English language.
Which is, tell me about yourself?
Yep. Tell me about yourself. Whether it's like a job interview, a first date, or just meeting someone at a party, people completely freeze up.
Oh, 100%. My brain just blue screens. I completely forget my own name.
Right? We suddenly sound like robots. I am a hard-working individual. Nobody actually talks like that, Alex.
True. But I mean, what are you supposed to say? If I say I like eating pizza and sleeping, they're probably not going to hire me.
Yeah, probably not. So today, we are going to fix that. We're going to give you guys a foolproof formula to describe yourself in English.
Oh, I need this because, my current strategy of just saying I'm a nice person isn't really opening doors for me.
Yeah, nice is, it's a dead word. We're burying it today.
Wait, dead? We can literally never use it?
Never. It tells me nothing about you. It's like a plain rice cake, zero flavor.
Okay, so if I'm not supposed to be a plain rice cake, what am I? How do I even start?
So the biggest mistake people make is they just list adjectives, right? Like they're reading a grocery list.
Right, I am smart, creative, and fast.
Exactly. Instead of that, you need the past, present, future method. Or, well, some people call it the PPF framework.
Past, present, future? Wait, so I have to tell them my entire life story? I was born in a small hospital.
No, dear God, no. Keep it short. It's about your professional or personal journey, where you were, what you're doing now, and where you're going.
Oh, okay, I get it. So I studied marketing, now I work here, and I want to be a manager.
That's better. It's on the right track. But it's still a bit robotic. We need to inject some emotion.
Emotion? In a job interview? I thought we had to be super professional and stiff.
Professional doesn't mean boring. Look, imagine you're a movie trailer. You need a hook.
In a world where Alex desperately needs a job.
Yes. Honestly, that energy is way better than, I am a hard worker. But let's look at the present first. Start with what you do, but add your why.
Add my why. What does that mean? Why I literally do my job? For money?
Not quite. So instead of saying, I am an English teacher, you say, I help people speak English with confidence.
Oh, wow. That just sounds way cooler.
Right? You aren't just giving them a boring job title. You're showing the actual result of your work.
Okay, wait, let me try it. I am a podcaster. No, wait. I help people learn things while they listen to me complain about stuff.
Well, it's honest, but maybe we polish it for a professional setting. Let's try, I create engaging audio content that makes learning fun.
Oh, look at you. That was incredibly smooth. You literally just pulled that out of thin air.
That's what I do, Alex. But seriously, think about the action verb. I help, I create, I manage. It puts you firmly in the driver's seat.
The driver's seat. I really like that. It sounds active, not, passive.
Exactly. So that's your present. Now let's tie in the past, but only, and this is crucial, only the relevant past.
Relevant. So skipping the time I won a hot dog eating contest in college.
Unless you're applying to be a competitive eater, yes, please skip the hot dogs.
Darn, that is genuinely my biggest achievement.
I worry about you sometimes, Alex. But seriously, you have to connect the past to how it helps you now.
Give me an example, Sam. How would you actually say it in real life?
Okay, before starting this podcast, I spent 5 years working in corporate training, which really taught me how to break down complex ideas.
Oh, you just linked the past directly to the present. It's like a bridge.
Exactly. It's a bridge. It proves why you are good at what you do now. You aren't just bragging, you're giving solid evidence.
Evidence. So instead of just saying I'm creative, you're actually proving it by saying like, my background in graphic design taught me how to think outside the box.
Ding, ding, ding. Yes. See, that is so much stronger than just dropping the word creative like it means something.
Yeah, because literally everybody says they're creative. It's like it's on every single resume ever printed.
Literally every resume. And team player. If I read team player one more time,
You're gonna completely lose it.
I will physically tear the paper. I swear. It's such a massive cliche.
Okay, so no plain rice cakes, no grocery lists of adjectives, and no cliches like team player.
Exactly. Use actions. Use the past, present, future method. We just did present and past. So what do you think the future part is?
Guessing here, telling them my hopes and dreams, like I want to be a millionaire and retire on a beach in Spain.
I mean, very relatable, but no. It's about what you are looking for next in this specific situation.
Oh, like now I'm looking for a role where I can actually lead my own team.
Spot on. It gives the whole conversation a clear direction. It tells them exactly why you are sitting in front of them today.
Wow, past, present, future. It really is just telling a story. But wait, how does this work if I'm not in an interview? What if I'm just at a coffee shop or a random party?
Oh, that's completely different. If you use the past, present, future thing at a party,
People will run away?
literally, they'll think you're like trying to sell them life insurance.
Right. Hi, I'm Alex. Previously I worked at, and they're gone.
Yeah, they are already getting a drink. So for casual stuff, Alex, you need what I call the label plus passion trick.
Label plus passion. Wait, like a clothing label?
No, a job label, like I'm a teacher or I'm a student. That's the label.
Okay, simple enough.
But the label is boring. It's just the plain rice cake again, right?
The dreaded rice cake.
Exactly. So you immediately add a passion, something you actually care about.
Okay, give me an example, Sam. How does that sound?
So instead of just saying, I'm an accountant, you say, I'm an accountant, but on weekends, I'm absolutely obsessed with baking bread.
Oh, that's actually really good.
Right? Because now, what are they going to ask you about?
The bread. Nobody wants to talk about accounting at a party.
Exactly. You give them an easy hook. You're basically saying, here is the boring thing I do for money, and here's the fun thing we can actually talk about.
That is genius. Because, I always get stuck when people say, tell me about yourself at parties.
Everyone does. It's like suddenly you forget who you are.
Yes, I'm like, I breathe air. I like water.
I am a human man. I walk on two legs.
Totally. So wait, let me try this. I'm a software developer, but right now I'm super into watching old movies.
Yes, perfect. Because now I can say, oh, really, Alex? Like what kind of movies?
And suddenly we're having a real conversation, not an interview.
Exactly. It's like a movie trailer. You just show them a little exciting clip of your life.
I love the movie trailer idea. Just boom, explosions, baking bread, roll credits.
Yeah, don't show them the whole 2-hour movie right away. Nobody wants your whole life story by the snacks table.
True. Okay, but what if my passion is really weird?
Weird is good. Weird is memorable.
Like, I'm a banker, but I collect strange rocks.
Honestly, I would talk to the rock guy for an hour.
Okay, fair point. But wait, after I do the label and the passion, then what?
This is the most important part. The boomerang.
The boomerang. You're just making up words now, Sam.
I am. But it makes sense, I promise. You have to throw the conversation back to them.
Because a conversation is a two-way street.
Right. If you just talk about your bread or your rocks for 20 minutes, you become the annoying guy at the party.
Right. We've all met that guy. Don't be that guy.
Yeah. So you throw the boomerang. You ask a question back.
So what about you?
Yes, but you can make it better than just, what about you? You can connect it.
Oh, I'm obsessed with baking. Are you into cooking at all?
Boom, that's it.
Wow, that feels so much more natural.
It really is. It takes all the pressure off you. You just give a tiny answer and pass the ball.
I see what you mean. It's wait, is it like a game of tennis?
Exactly like tennis. You hit the ball over the net. You don't just hold the ball and stand there.
Look at my ball. It's a nice ball.
I will now describe this tennis ball for 10 minutes.
So true. Okay, but I have another problem, Sam.
Hit me.
We talked about jobs and hobbies, but what about,
describing my personality.
Ooh, that's a tricky one.
Because if I say, I am very smart and funny, I sound like a total jerk.
Yeah, you sound incredibly arrogant. Never say, I am funny.
Right. If you have to say you're funny, you're probably not funny.
Exactly. It's the golden rule of English. And honestly, just life. Show, don't tell.
Show, don't tell. We hear that all the time. But how do you actually do that when you were just talking?
You have to use stories. Tiny little micro stories.
Micro stories? Okay, I'm gonna need an example for that one because I'm lost again.
So, okay, instead of saying, I am very organized.
Right, which sounds so boring.
Right, exactly. You say, I'm the friend who makes the spreadsheet for our group vacations.
Oh, wow, okay, that's actually really good.
See, it tells me you're organized, you plan ahead, and you take charge without you bragging.
Wait, but what if I'm not the spreadsheet friend? What if I'm the chaotic one?
Then you say, I'm the person who finds the best random restaurants when we get lost.
Oh, wow, you just make getting lost sound like a skill, Sam.
It is a skill. It shows you are adaptable. You go with the flow.
That is so much better than saying, I am adaptable.
Right? It's like giving someone a picture instead of reading them the dictionary.
A picture instead of a dictionary. I like that. So wait, I want to try this.
Do it. Go for it, Alex.
Okay, I want to say that I'm like a really calm person under pressure.
Okay, give me a microstory.
Right, okay. When the kitchen caught on fire... Wait, no, that's too dramatic.
Yeah, maybe let's avoid arson in your introduction.
Yeah, true. Okay, how about when the Wi-Fi dies during a big meeting, I'm the one who immediately turns on my phone hotspot.
Yes, exactly.
Really? That works?
It's perfect. It literally shows you solving a problem while everyone else is panicking.
Oh man, this is a game changer. It feels so much more human.
It is, and the person listening actually remembers you.
Because nobody remembers the guy who says, I am calm.
Nope, they remember the hotspot hero.
The hotspot hero. That's my new title.
But okay, let's look at the flip side. What if you need to talk about a weakness?
Oh no, the worst question. What is your biggest weakness?
Everyone hates it, and everyone lies.
I work too hard. I am too much of a perfectionist.
The worst. Interviewers roll their eyes so hard at that.
So what do? Tell them the truth? Like, I hate waking up early and I steal office pens?
Maybe not the pen stealing, Alex.
Well, I didn't say I do that. It was just a random example.
Sure. But the trick to weaknesses is you have to share a real problem, but add a solution.
Okay, wait. Slow down. Real problem plus solution.
Yeah, so like, I used to forget small tasks when things got really busy.
Okay, that's honest.
Right, but then you immediately say, so now I spend the last 10 minutes of my day making a to-do list for tomorrow.
Oh, now I get it.
You see what happened there?
You gave a real weakness, but you proved you fixed it.
Boom, you're showing growth.
Man, Sam, you're making me want to go to a job interview right now just to try this.
Please don't quit your job. We have a podcast to record.
True, but this is so helpful.
So let's test you. Give me a weakness with a solution.
Ooh, you're putting me on the spot.
You can do it. Come on. What's a real weakness?
I get really nervous when I have to speak English to native speakers.
Okay, very common. How are you fixing it?
So I started listening to Mr. English Builder,
Nice plug.
and I practiced repeating the messy conversations out loud.
Honestly, that is a fantastic answer.
Really? Because I just made it up on the fly.
No, it works perfectly. It shows self-awareness and action.
Wow, self-awareness and action. Look at us using fancy words.
But we explain them simply. That's the secret.
It really is. So we've got jobs, hobbies, personality, and weaknesses. What's left?
The future, Alex. You gotta talk about, like your goals.
Oh, right. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Ugh.
Exactly. The most annoying interview question ever invented.
Literally the worst. I don't even know what I'm having for dinner tonight.
Right? But when you describe yourself, adding a goal makes you sound...
Driven, like you have a direction.
Yeah. So instead of saying, I want to be rich, which is...
Honest.
True, but terrible for an interview.
Fair enough.
You say, I'm working towards becoming a senior manager. Or, I'm focusing on improving my English.
Ah, so it ties back to the action step.
Exactly. It's the cherry on top of the describe yourself Sunday.
I'm getting hungry. You said dinner earlier and now Sundays.
Focus, Alex. We're almost done here.
Okay. So let's put this whole puzzle together.
Right. We need the master formula.
The master formula. Give it to me. I'm ready.
Okay, here it is. Present, past, future.
Wait, present, past, future? That sounds like a boring grammar lesson.
No. Think of it like a movie trailer about you.
Ooh, a movie trailer. I like that. In a world.
Exactly. So, present. Who are you right now?
I am Alex. I work in marketing.
Good. Past. How did you get here?
I used to study design, but I loved writing more.
Nice. See, the connection is there. Now, future. Where are you going?
I'm hoping to become a creative director and eat a sundae tonight.
You really want that ice cream, don't you?
I really do. But wait, that's actually so easy. Present, past, future.
It is. It gives your brain like a little map to follow. No more panicking.
So I don't just start saying, I have 2 dogs and I like bread.
Please don't ever say that in a professional meeting.
Unless I'm a baker or a dog walker.
Okay, fair point. Context matters.
So wait, shouldn't we do a practice round for the listeners?
Yes, let's do it. Listeners, it's your turn right now.
Oh boy, I love when we put them on the spot.
Right now, I want you to think of just one sentence.
Just one? That's it?
Just one. Combine your job and a personality trait.
Like, I am an energetic teacher.
Perfect. Say it out loud wherever you are, even if you're on a bus.
Maybe whisper it if you're on a bus. Don't scare people.
True, but actually saying it out loud builds that muscle memory.
So true. You gotta get the mouth moving.
Exactly. And here's the challenge for today.
Hit me, Sam. Let's hear it.
Write your full present, past, future intro in the comments.
Ooh, I love that. We can actually read them.
We literally will read them. It's the best way to practice describing yourself in English.
And if you don't know how, just use the messy bits. We love messy.
We do. Speaking of which, if this episode helped you clear up the mess,
You better hit that subscribe button.
yes, follow, subscribe, and share it with someone who hates talking about themselves.
Which is, let's be honest, literally everyone.
Pretty much. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Mr. English Builder.
Now go practice your intros, people.
Seriously, go do it. See you in the next one.
Bye.